Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another live stream. As is tradition, we are having technical difficulties. David and I have been chatting fine on Discord, and now his Discord's just crapped the bed, and he's disappeared.
I might be
Hey!
here.
Now we've got
I've
audio
switched
back.
to the mobile because I've got to fucking reboot the PC because apparently opening the internet and Spotify decided to brick everything. So bear with, boys and girls at home.
Oh my god. It's all professionalism. All the way. Just straight through, mate. So, how is everybody? Good evening, Hugh. Good evening, Tim. Welcome to everybody in the chat, and welcome to everybody who's catching us on the rerun later on YouTube. Welcome to the show. So, weather is a little bit cooler here in Scotland, and it's better for it, let me tell you. I don't miss the heat. So, what are we going to be up to tonight? Well, first of all, we will show you a bit about what we're going to be painting, if we get any painting done on stream tonight. And then we are going to be... Tim's painting terrain. Okay, that's fine, Tim.
Painting, Tim?
Don't worry about not chatting, mate. If you want to work and listen, you just carry on and work and listen. So we'll cover what we're going to be trying to work through tonight, and then we'll tell you about what we got up to on our gaming club evenings this week. And then we will just do a bit of hobby and chat, and we've got a few things.
Have a rant.
Yes, David's got a little bit of stress to get off his chest.
Got an axe to grind.
Yeah.
With false advertising.
Yeah. He's throwing the Trade Descriptions Act about willy-nilly.
I'll be fucking throwing more than trade descriptions.
And we've got another little gem, a little weird, obscure gem from UK Games Expo to talk about, and a couple of YouTube vids. Yep, because we haven't exhausted. Just to just to give everybody the impression that there's loads to talk about from UK Games Expo. There is, because it's a hell of a show and a load of stuff goes on. So, while we're waiting for David to reboot his PC, etc.
It's on the welcome screen. We might get something back shortly.
I shall jump in with what I'm going to be hobbying on tonight. So I finally managed to get my Infnity model done. 80% done. I've still got to finish the base, but
amateur.
I'm happy with where it's at. And for 4 hours work, I think it looked pretty good. I did put some pics on Instagram yesterday for anybody who follows us on Instagram. But now we're going to work through some more. So that was Oyama finished. And I've now got 4 other models that I'm going to be working on. So what we've got here are 2 of the line troopers that I'm indicating here. Kaizotsu, they're called in the Japanese secessionist army, which is what this is. And then we've got a couple of specialist troopers. So we've got a doctor here and an engineer. So at the moment, we're just working on getting base coats down. She's basically done, ready for washing. This guy, I just want to get some colour on this piping, and I'll probably go for a teal colour, which is what I've used on some of the other details on my army. And these guys need all of their straps putting in that mid-tone grey before we move on to the washing and highlighting step. Yes, Doctor, Tim. So, because obviously in Infnity you have like field medics that can...
No, I think Tim's taking the piss.
Oh, Doctor Who. Sorry. Not being a Doctor Who fan, that went right over my head. all a bit lost on an old man like me. I haven't enjoyed Doctor Who since Tom Baker.
Right. So
Everything after that is crap, in my
three.
humble opinion. So let's go back to the main scene.
One, I'm back in the room.
Are you? Let me
I'm
go
on
to
the I'm on the internet,
on
boys
the
and girls.
You're on the internet on the computer. Oh, yeah!
I'm on the internet, Mum.
Mum! I've done it! Right, now we need to set your Video Ninja up as well.
No, video Ninja is still running. It's just that I had
Is
it
it?
shut down and on something else. Look, my hand is moving.
Hang on. So,
My hand is moving.
I don't have a connection to it.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Fuck you. Fucking amateur. Reload the site.
It's not.
Share my camera.
It's not.
It is
me.
fucking you. I had no issues until you arrived.
So, here we go.
Right.
Let's crack on. So, we're going to need
There we go.
some...
Live mini camera.
Yeah, working.
Happy days. Right.
So, what are you going to be doing tonight, mate? Do you want me to
Bang on
put you
theme.
Here
We're
we
going
go.
to this level on all the others.
So, it's still Pano.
So we're still Pano and we're still on the white because I know how to drag a paint job out. Let's go!
Okay, that's fine.
And then there was something else I was going to say. Something else I was possibly going to do. Actually, here's one. Opinions on this piece of Infnity scenery, because me and Paul have the same vehicle and we need to paint it.
Yep. Yeah, you sent me a 3D print of that.
Yeah, very nice. And it's hollowed.
Look at that. What a professional.
Yeah,
Evening,
professional
Crispin.
3D printer. Yeah, exactly. So I've got options. I don't really know what to do. I might use some of that Turbo Dork black colour shifty paint on the windows.
Unusual.
And then just go with like a flat body colour and do some of the metallic detailing and like the lighting and bits and pieces. But
Fair.
I'm not sure yet. The other thing I don't know is, are these like recovery lights? Are these like meant to be sirens? What's this about? I mean, this is just a file off Thingiverse, and it's just, I think it's literally labelled Infnity Car.
Right.
Yes, it is Crispin. It is resin off a Anycubic Photon, the original Photon.
And because it's off Thingiverse, you haven't got any colour pics or anything to give you an idea.
I might have somewhere, but as anyone who operates and uses a 3D printer knows, you soon build a repertoire of files. Apparently, it's a police car from Blade Runner. Probably explains the lighting.
So that they are obviously designed to be police lights. Okay, so somebody's essentially just copied the styling and remodeled it.
Don't know. It looks pretty cool, and it's a fair size compared to the Pano figures for terrain and obscurement. Playing Infnity, one of the best games on Earth.
Yeah, definitely one of the better games. So,
shall we start off with what we did this week in hobby?
Yes, let's do that.
Do you want me to kick it off, or do you want to kick it off?
No, you kick it off today.
Right. So, I mean, you can come off my minicam if you want.
Oh, good call.
Actually, no, don't come off minicam.
Look at this. Make up your bloody mind.
Oh,
backwards,
shut up.
Forwards,
I'm like a what?
Oh,
shut up. You might remember these, Paul, from a long time ago.
Oh my god, yeah. It's an orgy of Infnity.
It's a facade from the Hacky Slam and
yep, that was the
unfinished
red
minis in a box that I need to finish for
That
club.
was the Red Veil starter, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And boys and girls at home, Paul's paint job on a Hessian Lieutenant. So no, we played some Infnity this week. So we played 170 points of Yujing versus, I think it was 172 of Hacky Slam.
Basically those Red Veil starter armies.
Yeah, basically the Red Veil starter armies. So we had Hessian Lieutenant, Tiger Soldier, Where's the ninja who did fuck all for me this game? Ninja. Look at it. And then... Oh, no, that's a Zhu Yong, Tiger Soldier. Sorry. Let me get my Infnity minis right. And then I took just normal Zanshi and a Zanshi paramedic. That was my list. Dan, because I didn't play Ricky this week because Ricky wasn't feeling
Hello,
very
Jerry.
well. So I played Dan. Dan took Fasih, Zahayden, 2 general just dog's body Gulams.
Gulam is the line trooper, is it?
Yeah.
Tuareg. Tuareg, yeah.
Paramedic, or the doctor for the Gulams. And then a Qujari FO. That was Dan's list.
Sweet.
Introduced Dan to Infnity, so did kind of play rules light, so we didn't include anything like mimetism or other things, but we did include obviously like cover saves, order of operations, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because it was
rolls,
literally
dodges, etc. It was Dan's first game.
First toe in, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I must have done something right, and I must have played pretty darn well, because A, Dan won, B, Dan wants to play again exactly the same list, but turn the rules up to 11 the next time he plays.
Yeah,
so
we'll
include
all
of
and whistles in.
Infiltrate, and all them. We played the supply run scenario, so basically the 3 objectives down the centre line of the board. At 170 points, we probably played on a bit of a smaller table, but again, demo game, doesn't matter. The 24 by 32 inch board.
Yep.
Had a really nice table setup. Really pissed that I didn't take any pictures of it, so I've got to try and replicate that the next time I play, because it was really nice. It's the same stuff that you guys have probably seen before on my Duragama bat rep, for those that have seen that and looked at that. Did you link that the other week?
We did, yes. And
chat. When we last spoke about that, that's in one of the video descriptions somewhere.
Yeah, if you go back to our live streams, there's one that talks about the Infnity Global Campaign. There's a link in there which shows off the table David's talking about.
But it was basically the same terrain as that, but with none of the greenery, none of the scatter. I literally just played with the buildings. And we had a really, really fun game, really, really tight game. Went down to the wire. And then, yeah, all in all, he's happy. He's stoked to play. He doesn't know what armies to get and stuff yet, and he wants to play a bit more.
Well, it's early days. I mean, the main thing, he enjoyed the game
willing
and the system.
Yeah. What about your week? What about your week at club this week? Well,
obviously,
club in inverted commas, in air commas. You can go off minicam now, bye.
Yeah. Okay.
I've finished.
So basically, as I've discussed in previous weeks, my club's taken a bit of a hammering over August because the guy who organises it has had a work nightmare. So he's working like 7 days a week at the minute. So, and he works evenings as well. So club's been off. But we've managed to get a little core of board gamers together. And we had another board game session on Tuesday night.
Board game Massif.
Yep. And I managed to get a game to the table that I've not had on the table for forever. Flashpoint Fire Rescue.
Oh, you disappoint me. We spoke about this on Monday night, and I am now much disappointed.
Yeah, you wanted Everdell, but I wanted to do Flashpoint because I've not played it for literally years. And it's co-op, which always gives a really nice gaming experience. And
I will beg to differ on that, but that's probably because it's co-op miniatures games and people don't treat them like co-ops miniatures games. Sorry, I'll put the knife away.
What do you mean?
Frostgrave.
Frostgrave's
Need
not
I say any more?
Rangers of Shadow Deep is true co-op. Frostgrave isn't co-op technically. Anyway,
okay.
I'll put a link I'll put a link below to the Board Game Geek entry for Flashpoint Fire Rescue for everybody. But basically, the game involves all of the players taking the roles of firemen and trying to put out a burning building, save innocent civilians. So you win the game by saving 7 people. You lose the game by either putting all the structural damage tokens out and the building collapses on your firefighters, or you have 4 casualties amongst the civilians. They get killed in fire. And it was really cool game. We played on the easiest difficulty and still only just managed to beat the game. So it's another Arkham Horror style game where everything's turned up to 11 in terms of difficulty. But it gets
why would any co-op game ever be easy? Let's be brutally honest, though.
Yeah, I mean, sure, that's it, because again, you're all it bears that sort of like tough love because you're all enjoying it together, aren't you? It's part of the fun.
You're all getting the shit kicked out of you together, so enjoy it. Stop moaning about it. Get on with your life.
So it had some great moments. Right at the end, I think we'd got to save. We'd got 3 casualties, and basically we had to save both of the sort of civilians that we identified in the smoking building, the fire-filled building, and we were basically fire was everywhere, and we managed to work out a plan, and it involved one of our firefighters literally using their fire axe to smash through 2 walls, internal walls, to go out through the only doorway that we could get out of. And obviously the problem with doing that was you put more structural damage down. And I think we had like 2 or 3 structural damage tokens before the building collapsed left. It was so tense at the end. It was bloody amazing. It was such a good game. Then, because it's not a particularly long game, we had a quick game, filler game of a game called Draftosaurus, which, again, I'll put a link in the description below for anybody who's not familiar with the game. So that one's a weird little, like, 20-minute filler game where you have a little cardboard...
Home down a bit.
You put a cardboard thing in front of you that represents a theme park, and you have to put wooden dinosaurs that you draw out of a cup onto this board to score points. But it's my worst type of game. It's a draft game. So each player starts with some container that contains 6 dinosaur tokens. You take one and then pass it around clockwise. So, and then you take another.
You enjoyed a bit of magic drafting occasionally in very limited forms.
Don't get me wrong, I enjoy it, but it is absolutely the type of game I suck at. I absolutely suck at drafting games. I don't know why, really. Otherwise, I could fix it and become better at it. But I think it's just that with drafting, there's a level of information that I guess that's a nod towards draft. So pints are going to cost you guys. Oh, I see. Chris been saying pints are going to cost you. Yeah, whiskey's the way to go, Jerry. Yeah, alcohol always costs more.
Well, unless you're in Scotland, and then you've got to pay even more for your whiskey.
Yeah, you say that, but it's not that much more. It's again that it's a good meme minimum price unit pricing, but you can still get a bottle of scotch for under a tenner for cheap stuff. So it doesn't dramatically matter. So yeah, I don't know what it is, but I came last with like 20 points, and virtually everybody else at the table scored well over 30. I think there's just too much to track for my enfeebled brain, or I get distracted by things that aren't relevant, like trying to read what's coming round the draft, then distracts me from actually drafting the most
Getting on and
optimal
drafting
thing
what
for
you want to
me.
draft, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's good fun, and it's so quick. You could play it and then play it again and then play it again,
Yeah.
back to back. But Jesus, not my game.
No, I mean, again, last time I drafted any Magic was bloody Theros.
Yeah,
book.
again, when the club used to run the little mini drafts, I did enjoy them, but Christ, I sucked at them.
See, I didn't do too badly in that, but that might have had something to do with the fact that I was basically drafting at home with Magic the Gathering Arena.
Oh, so you'd got some practice in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of reading the
because
cards and again picking what's good in what open colours at the table, and I think I ended up drafting a black-red deck, Rakdos deck. I've got it somewhere still. And it worked pretty darn well for a draft deck. I mean, it's shit as a standard deck. Not that it's even probably legal in standard anymore.
Again, I think that's probably part of the problem for me, is that with card games, I lean towards that constructed format where I can build a machine and optimize a machine. So I just don't develop the skill set for drafting.
Yeah, you don't traditionally have a limited pool.
Yeah, and again, it's the game mode I enjoy the least.
No, I did nearly get in on some Commander this week. Slightly bummed that I introduced Dan to Infnity rather than Commander shenanigans, because it always goes down a blast when I'm playing Commander at a table, because I'm just one of those players.
Are you being facetious?
Yeah, blue player
I
here.
thought you were.
Blue player here. Do you not remember fucking how
remember your fucking
Roffle Stompy that deck was at UKGE?
That
fucking life gain deck that just went, yeah, no, fuck you. And
I remember
went
that,
to 11.
I remember that Thassa's Oracle deck.
Oh, you love Thassa's Oracle.
That was fucking bollocks, that was.
Well, the bounce deck. No one can have nice things.
Fucking blink deck.
I love my ETB triggers. What can I say?
Just stop it.
No, if I'm gonna get ETB triggers, I'm gonna profit.
Well, you will do when you play them 6 times each. That's a given.
Fucking Vietnam flashbacks. Get to the chopper.
Yeah.
I've got fucking cramp in my wrist. Might help if I put the fucking miniature on a fucking painting stand, not fucking try and grab it by its fucking legs.
Are you using that snazzy new paintbrush? Do you want to show everybody?
No, I haven't, but I will show everybody in a second. The reason being, I'm just doing detail work around the back of a cape, so I'm down to size
and it's
naught.
It's a bit of a chunky boy, wasn't it? Size
3. She a bit thick. She a bit thick. She's a size 3 Windsor and Newton though. And I picked her up at the range for £2.50. And she's sable.
£2.50 for a Windsor and Newton sable brush.
I know what inflation.
What?
Inflation. What's this word you speak of?
Have we ever tried tequila? I don't think I have, Crispin. To be fair,
no. I'm partial to Sambuca and Uzu.
I fucking hate Uzo. In fact, I hate any aniseed liqueur.
See, I love aniseed and I love almond. So amaretto and Sambuca.
No, not Drambuie's the orange one, innit? Fuck that as well.
I'd rather not fucking orange liqueur because that's going to sting a bit.
It is more pleasant than drinking, the fucker.
In your experience, maybe.
Fucking Southern Comfort. SoCo. That's another drink that can
That can fuck off. Malibu. The coconut one.
Yeah, the coconut one. Yeah.
Is that another one that can fuck off?
That's probably the least foul of the bunch. but I still wouldn't drink it out of choice.
Come down. Let's show the boys and girls this.
I'm definitely a rum brandy whiskey man. Keep it traditional. Call it, yeah. Oh, see, Tim's a bit of a tequila fan. Right, here we go then. Show this £2.50.
£2.50.
Sable brush off.
Size 3 Winsor & Newton professional watercolour sable round. My only problem with it is the length of the handle. It's a good 6 inches long, but it has got these nice bulbous bits, and it does go in at a nice point where you rest your hand.
So you're comfortable with the girth, but it's a bit too long for you.
I like the girth, but it goes a little too deep. Let's just get that fucker out there before we start just with the fucking sexual memes for the rest of the evening, because I've said deep and girthy. Fucking Jesus. It's like dealing with a fucking 12-year-old at primary school.
Oh, dear. I'm 12 at primary school. I'm a late developer. Jesus Christ. So, here we go. In progress.
In progress.
How's the point holding there? You've got it loaded.
It's not terrible.
Because that's the thing that's going to make it either mega useful or a waste of time, isn't it? If it won't hold a point and just bushes out.
Well, let's see how thin a line I can do.
I'm not even going to repeat what Crispin's just said.
I mean,
I
would say that's quite good as a size 3. It's not terrible for still holding a point.
I mean, to be fair, can you complain for £2.50?
For £2.50, definitely not. And again, it's £2.50, and it's a nice sable brush. Let's use it for base coating and beat the shit out of it.
Because that's the other thing. It'll be interesting to see how
long it lasts.
Well, no, what I was going to say, how detailed or delicate you can get with it before the actual size of it and the tip doesn't perform. You know.
You got it on a performance plan, because that's what it sounds like here.
I'd be challenging it every step of the way, mate. I'd be giving it a severely hard ride.
You do realise what you just said there?
I did rather come at it deliberately.
Did you glaze it, or
that was not an accidental entendre.
It's not terrible. Not as amazing as my Raphael, but it's not terrible for £2.50.
Yeah, but I imagine your Raphael cost best part of what, 8 times as much?
No, it was only £8.
Oh, that's not bad.
So, not terrible. I mean, it works.
You have to give it put the hours in the next week, and then you can tell us next Thursday how it's bearing.
Well, I'd love to tell you all next Thursday, but I suppose this is the point where I disappoint you. I'm on holiday.
Week.
You're flying solo next week.
Week.
I'm sorry, but the backwaters of Lincolnshire don't have much internet.
So why go then?
Because there's a boys there that has all of the Vallejo paints that I may or may not need for my bolt action.
So that's it. Where are you going on holiday? I can't remember, but I know there's a massive boys nearby.
And why do you know there's a massive boys nearby? Well, it's full of all the Vallejo.
What did you do on holiday? I bought paint.
Solo, just invite guests. Does Paul have friends?
That's tell you what though, it's not a bad shout.
Tim, what are you doing next Thursday? Ricky, if you're in chat, what are you doing next Thursday?
That is a good shout.
Get the fucking demon painter on. And I mean that in the nicest way, Ricky, but you fuck me, do you cover some fucking miniatures, mate? Like,
Has he
you're
actually got anything to paint now? Because last time he was on, he was
he-
like,
he-
I've run out of things to paint.
No, you fucking opened a can of worms now. I'm going to have to put my brush down, turn the fucking miniature camera off, because we're about to get salty up in this bitch.
Okay, so we're going back to the main scene.
Well, you're going to have to navigate to the fucking slideshow in a minute.
Okay, right. Let me put my brush down.
We're getting salty in this bitch. We're half hour in. Let's get salty.
So, I shall. You just take it away, mate. You just take it away.
So,
I need to turn that on.
Let me before I go on my rant.
I'm ready when you are.
I need a fruity beverage. I need to bring it up for everyone at home to see me rant, and I need a get ready for this shit. So, I printed some miniatures this week, and I say this week, I mean last night.
But you're a 3D printer. You must always be printing minis. That's hardly news.
Why? Oh, I know why this is echoey, because Discord's picking up your fucking audio.
Oh, right.
Hang on. No, that's not the button I wanted to hit.
Bye!
And I've just nuked the fucking stream. This is going well. I fucking hate my life. Anyway.
What have you done?
I've just hit a button and it's died, alright? We're going to go...
Oh, that's genius.
So, I printed 5 miniatures last night for Ricky, part of a Blood Bowl team, Dark Elves.
Yep.
The 5 were sold to me on the Kickstarter. And bear in mind, Ricky backed this Kickstarter. Ricky is literally just paid the cost for printing these on my printer because Ricky doesn't own a 3D printer and it's one of my hobbies. So it's all on Ricky. I stuck 5 pre-supported. Don't talk to me about the My Mini Factory sale, Crispin, because I may have spent...
Now your audio's gone, so I'm assuming your Discord's dead completely. Well, this is going well. Oh, dear. Yeah, that's what I think, Tim. David's died for the second time. I'm waiting for something to happen. Let's see if we can raise him. Okay, well, while we're waiting for David to re-establish contact from the dark side. Tim said he thinks he's free. Okay, well, I may message you, Tim, and we may see if we can get the technology sorted to get you on as a guest. That'll be good fun, and better for me than flying solo. And even I know you have to sort of often pop off early, but even if it's a shorter stream, unless I come up with some brilliant genius idea to keep
I'm
us
back in the room.
Hey!
Yeah!
Oh, Crispin's already 100 quid in on that sale, mate.
I'm 120 quid down. that was like last night.
Oh, hell's teeth.
Oh, yay. Can you still hear me or not?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Right, hang on, because I need to fucking murder Discord again, because I tried to boot my camera up and it just went, nah, fuck you.
Mate, what's going on? You've had a lot of issues with Discord recently.
Right, I'm back.
Yes.
Yes, I bought your Christmas present in the My Mini Factory sale, though.
Okay, I'll stop complaining.
So that was a thing. The other thing I bought in the My Mini Factory sale was 2 armies for full spectrum dominance and a load of scatter terrain that I want to scale up for DZC.
Okay, sounds cool.
I bought ships for Billion Suns.
Ooh, mate.
And let me go have a look what else I bought, because My Mini Factory is just literally open on another tab because I don't have a 3D printing problem at all. Purchases. What else did I buy?
So Crispin's making a White Scars army, and he bought some Puppet Wars.
Oh, I bought that Yeti that I showed you.
Oh yes,
that abominable Yeti from Cursed Forge.
The one you asked me about the base.
Yeah, I bought some Tyrantol chests and mimics.
Okay.
And then, like I say, full spectrum dominance, 2 army bundles, the radio telescopes, the towers, and other shit. And Paul's Christmas present of 3 miniatures.
Crispin has a fighter for ABS. That's a Billion Suns, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, we've seen it, Jerry. The fucking insanity that is Crispin's project. Oh my god.
It's
fathers.
Anyway, where did I get to before Discord rudely interrupted me and shat the bed?
Basically, you hadn't started. You just sort of said that the last we heard, you'd done some printing, and I commented, well, that's not unusual because you own a 3D printer.
And then it died.
Yeah, basically.
Wonderful.
Everything after that was lost to the ether.
Been doing some 3D printing, done a couple of bits of commission work on my FDM, ripped the resin up last night to start doing starting to do this Kickstarter that Ricky backed. Ricky's paid for a bottle of resin basically, and I'm just literally printing it for Ricky because I have access to a 3D printer and Ricky doesn't.
Yep.
So
doing
it's
the old mates rates printing.
Not even mates rates, mate. It's literally Ricky's bought the resin. Ricky owns the files. I'm just the middleman that sticks them on a printer and then takes him the finished article.
Fair.
So I did 5 miniatures. Hit print on them. Pre-supported, so shouldn't be too bad. Did an island check. There was a few islands. Made some modifications. Happy days.
Out of interest, while you talk about island checking, do you do anything like that, Crispin, when you get 3D prints? Do you do an island check? Or do you just...
I suppose it depends if he's running resin or not. Or again, anyone that runs resin 3D printers. Do you island check? Should I be island checking?
Okay, Jerry.
Did an island check. There was a few islands. Patched them up, fixed them. Not too bad. Hit print on the way to work this morning. Came home from work to a bed with a miniature that had fallen off halfway through and got stuck to the FEP at the bottom of the tank. So that was 1 down already.
Okay.
Then cracked them off the build plate. There was a second failure with...
Crispin doesn't do island checking.
Then there was a second failure with one's arm fucked, and a third failure with the cape ruined. So I'm like, okay, out of 5 miniatures, I've got... Oh, Crispin, if pre-supported, I don't. Well, let's have a discussion about this. The other 2 miniatures, I'm like, okay, these are fine. Threw them in a bag for Ricky, took them round to Ricky's tonight. Ricky opened them up, and Ricky went, they've failed. I'm like, you fucking what? Because I'm like, they looked all right because I was rushing, get them off the plate, get them clean, get them good, get them over. So we had a second failure. So if you would like to pull them up on screen.
So Crispin's saying here, he goes back and does a search if he gets failures. So this is the first picture.
See, I cut the horse off at the pass. I cut the horse off at the pass and island check before anything goes anywhere near my printer.
Yeah. I get it, Crispin. Makes sense, sort of. You can tell us what your failure rate is on average for prints. So, are you still there, David? Have you died again?
I'm still here.
Fine. Are you going to bring your video back, or are you still holding on?
I attempted to a few minutes ago, and it killed Discord again.
Okay,
so
just go without video,
and then I'll bring it back after.
Yeah, that's fine.
So this is the 5 miniatures that I did.
Yes.
I mean, the one on the left is just not on the fucking bed anymore. It's still in the bottom of the tank at this point. Her fucking ponytail printed out beautifully, though. Wonderful. Fucking rest of the mini's dead, but I've got a beautiful elvish ponytail. The assassin on the right-hand side, his cape just decided it wanted to be about a foot shorter than it actually needed to be, so he looks like he's wearing a fucking shawl rather than a cape.
Okay.
Bell end.
Basically, every single one of the 5 failed in some way.
In some way or another.
And so, just to be clear, what are these miniatures for? Are they just...
These miniatures are Dark Elves for a Blood Bowl team.
Okay, cool.
They were a Kickstarter, and I think it was £12
and who
for an
was
entire team.
Who ran it?
It was by... I shall tell you in a second, because I left a comment on that Kickstarter earlier that I wasn't best pleased. My library. Come on, go to my library.
If it's a lot of hassle, don't bother, mate. You can always...
I'm nearly there. Because it's in my campaigns. It was by Cosmondo Games from Spain.
Okay.
Or whatever.
So, you carry on.
So out of 5 miniatures, 5 failed. Islands were checked, no issues. Supports looked pretty fucking meaty. If anything, a little bit big for what I like. Again, don't know why they decided that they didn't want to print, but they didn't want to print. So if you go to the next slide, please.
Yeah, I'm just reading some of Crispin's comments, but we'll come back to that. Next slide.
We have the Witch Elf with her arm flat.
Oh, I see. This is one of the ones you initially thought was okay.
Yeah, this is a good one at first glance from on the print bed, and then it turns out that, yeah, her arm's fucking about a razor's edge thick, and it's not appropriate at all.
Is that because basically most of the arm hasn't printed?
Yeah, most of the arm hasn't printed, and then thingy. My slicer Crispin is lychee because Cheetu is a piece of shit. For various reasons, mainly crashes, but we'll gloss over that. What gets me about this from Cosmodo, though, these are pre-supported miniatures.
Okay.
Unlike other companies, Artisan Guild, One Page Rules, fucking countless companies that take good money on Patreon, do good files, they don't even offer it as a editable file for my supports. So it is literally an STL with the supports and the miniature combined into one. So I cannot go in and fucking edit them. I've got to re-support the entire fucking miniature because of failure. Some of the failure I can put down to, okay, it's pulled off the support. It needs a heavier support there, for example.
You said you thought the supports look heavier duty than you would
This
have
is what I mean.
used.
This is what I mean. So I don't necessarily think that it's been set up with the correct penetration, or they're going to a very thin tip width, or whatever it happens to be.
Okay.
I started with Cheetu as well, Crispin. I don't have issues with my printer, and I don't have issues with the process I have, which is island checking and doing all of that. Because if we go to the next slide, Paul, I think after this one is the...
Crispin's a lychee man as well.
Crossbows with... there's the crossbow men from Artisan Guild.
So this is an example of miniatures
that
came off flawlessly.
Done brilliantly. This is 3D Printing Pro pairing up with Artisan Guild to support them, test them, do them fucking properly, and offer you something that you can put on a printer, hit print, and you won't have any issues. And I can guarantee that because I have only ever, in the 2 and a bit years I've been supporting Artisan Guild, had 2 issues with pre-supports.
Okay.
One of these is also, what's it called? Titan Forge. So the crossbow guy, there's the crossbowman that I've got between my fingers. That's Titan Forge. And then there is the Artisan Guild rogue guy in the middle. Titan Forge, again, similarly, very nicely supported. Don't have any issues with.
And you've printed loads of models from these?
Printed loads of them. I must have printed 50, 60 models.
Okay.
various sizes, various scales, never any issues.
And they're all come pre-supported. You've not had to fiddle and diddle about with them.
No, the only thing I do is just an island check, just to make sure.
Do you find many islands on them?
There's a few, but most of them can be patched up using Photon Validator.
Right, yeah.
Or that I use to island check.
Okay.
And I literally just patch in, because it tends to be like 4 pixels between a support and the actual lowest point aren't turned on.
Yeah.
Turn those 4 pixels on and suddenly I've got no islands and it's fine.
Okay.
The next slide is a Kickstarter done properly, which is Starscrapper's Battle Drill.
I'll show the next
Pixis
picture because
Studios.
it's the same miniatures, but from a better angle and
Yeah.
better in focus. And all these Star Scrappers, they all come pre-support?
All pre-supported. There was a few more islands in these. I did have to go in and tweak the file. But the beauty is they supply you with the light sheet file. So you literally just drag in the extra supports, you're done.
Okay, so it's even in the right
got to do everything
software.
Extra. Again, I don't mind if they supply me either Chi2 or Lychee. Just supply me a file with the supports that I can tweak the settings to what works for my printer.
Yeah.
Don't pre-support something for me. It clearly isn't pre-supported. And also, it's an embedded STL, so if I want to change any of the supports, I've got to go fucking re-support the entire lot anyway.
How would you
Might
do
as well just supplied it unsupported.
As a non-techie, so if they give you this embedded STL, whatever you called it, it's literally...
Lychee or the Chi2 file, it's literally the STL with the nest underneath of all of the supports, but I can go and add extra supports in. I can remove supports if I want to. I can tweak the size, the shape.
But with this other company, is it almost like the supports are now part of the 3D model?
Yeah, the supports has become part of the STL and therefore become part of the model.
So the only way you can re-support these models is manually delete all those 3D elements. And recreate.
Or just open their unsupported file.
Oh, that was what I was confused by. So they do provide you both. They give you the unsupported file, which you can do your thing with, or the supported file, but the supported file is like, it's the finished, it's basically ready to load into the printer.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. I understand now as a non-technical individual. Carry on.
Hunger miniatures, the halflings that you guys and girls have all seen me paint, seen smashed to smithereens, and fuck knows what else will happen with them in the longer term. They're tree men.
Next one.
The tree men were all pre-supported. Okay, they were segmented because of the weight of them, but they're all pre-supported and they've all gone together with fucking no artifacts, no issues with the printing and everything else. Same settings, opened in the same files, and yet we have this fucking massive disparity. Why are people selling something as pre-supported and ready to print when it clearly isn't? Because this is something that's really turned you off to 3D printing.
Oh, absolutely.
Is the amount of time I sit bitching about work I have to do to make something actually print.
Yeah. Yeah, it is something that is a massive barrier for me being asked with it. My most precious resource is time, and I don't want to give this any time, or a minimal time investment. I don't so much mind cash investment, but I don't want to give it any time because I don't have enough as it is. And
is my minicam still live?
I can find out for you, sir.
Go to my minicam.
Let me just go. Let's transition to the main scene, and then we'll have a look at David's minicam. No, mate, I'm not getting any signal from it.
Right, hang on then. Let me.
Sorry, guys, I can't see the chat when I'm on the slideshow screen. So let's come in.
It's Crispin basically saying write to them, and I have given them a fucking piece of my mind on the Kickstarter today, quite publicly, of what the fuck is this, because this is not fucking pre-supported. And I will be including pictures if they want to start something. Printed Obsession again, another company.
You're back on, mate.
I'm back on now.
Let me transition to David's minicam because he's going to show us some more bits.
Printed Obsession. They're a company that I have mixed feelings about. Some of their stuff is good, like this, and the Frankenstein that I gave you at UK Games Expo, Paul.
Yeah, the guy with the holding the sort of.
And this is all
vial.
pre-supported, and they're gorgeous. The wolves that I bought at exactly the same time failed every single time, even when they're on their own. Tried them 2 or 3 times, even slowed down the print speeds on them.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, okay, maybe it's me.
Did you then re-support them and they went flawless?
I'm going to. I just haven't had time to yet.
Because that's the other thing that occurs to me. I mean, I'm a complete non-expert here. I'm the fucking idiot in the room. So my question in the roundabout way is, obviously you're coming at this that the supporting, the pre-supporting is piss poor on these miniatures. That's why they're failing. How do you know that?
Because if I have no issues with the likes of, for example, this Artisan Guild mini.
Yeah. Is it because it's the only thing that can be wrong? Or can the miniatures just be... I mean, again, I don't know, because I'm not a 3D printer, but could it be that actually the 3D models are badly designed and they're not oriented correctly, or they're not...
That shouldn't matter. If I wanted to print this girl upside down and have all the supports and scarring on her face, etc.
Yeah.
So long as it's correctly supported, it will work.
Okay. So the supporting is such a critical step. You can pretty much ignore everything else if you get that right.
Yeah.
Right.
Again, Artisan Guild Mini. I mean,
that
the chain that goes down to his base. That's what I mean. Gorgeous minis. Literally no effort, no issues. There's a little bit of a scar on his wing here, but that's it.
Yeah.
And I think that's because I dropped him and then I fixed him before I painted him. Yes, it is because there's a complete misalignment there.
Yeah, you broke it.
I broke his wing through here because it runs all the way around, so I must have fixed him and then primed him. I mean, one page. Look at this. The dinosaur from One Page Rules. Okay,
now,
I haven't
you did have some. You had some failures from this batch, didn't you?
Yes, I did have some failures.
Because you remember you showed me the tail, was it? That went a bit weird?
No, it was the fact that I completely fucking did a noob move.
Okay.
And had 2 miniatures basically inside one another, and the tail went up through the leg of another miniature and printed out. Now, bear in mind, he's a big, hefty resin boy. I have got some shrinking and some gap issues here and there.
Yeah.
But on a big model like this, I can live with that. I've fucking filled bigger holes in GW Shitecast.
Mm-hmm.
I can live with these. And everywhere where it doesn't, or it would be a pain to fix, like his fucking forearm here, or his ankle down here, and his leg here, done and masked beautifully, may I add, with where the joint is, which is just there.
Okay. Which is virtually impossible for me to see.
If people can design beautiful miniatures and support them properly, why do we accept pre-supports that are shite, and then, to make matters worse, cause a little bit of a stink about it and then go, oh, fuck it, we'll do it ourselves?
Yeah. I mean, have you looked into this company some more? Have they got a bit of a bad rep for their supports, or what?
Not yet. I will be doing some digging. It's because I ranted and then came straight on stream.
Okay, fine.
I mean, again, these halflings, I will admit, did have islands, because I said to you when I opened these, oh, fuck, these are a bit full of islands.
Yeah.
I added 4 or 5 supports to most miniatures because I did my island check and made sure that basically I had no failures. And I had no failures when these printed.
Yeah.
They were 1 piece or 2 pieces in some cases. No issues, printed beautifully, not a single flaw until I dropped them, but we'll gloss over that.
Operator error! Operator error!
Referee!
Awesome.
Literally. But this is what I mean. And it's not like I don't know how to support something, because this is a resin, hefty, chunky boy of resin, and I supported this myself. And I think you even said with these, once you get some paint on there, you're not actually going to see any of the layer lines on the window.
Because you did that in the batch of that. You did me a load of resin bolt action, didn't you? World War II stuff.
Yes, I did.
Trucks and jeeps and India pattern cars and
carrier
stuff.
and stuff. Yeah, this is what I mean. Why can we not have nice things from everyone? Why do we have...
Is it a money issue? Was this stuff that Ricky got particularly dirt cheap?
It wasn't. I wouldn't say...
Sorry, 12... I keep hitting my microphone.
12 for an entire team is dirt cheap.
Okay.
It's a little bit cheaper than Punga.
Okay.
Because Punga would be 16 to 20.
Okay.
Over 2 months. But I wouldn't say 12 quid for a team, considering there's just all the positionals there and there was no stretch goals delivered or anything else with the campaign, is particularly dear.
Right.
It's just annoying that somebody sells something as pre-supported and it's clearly fucking not pre-supported. That's my gripe, and that's my axe to grind, because there is countless stuff out there that you can literally drag it on, drop it on, go. Doesn't matter what resin you're using, pretty much what settings you're using. As long as you've got them fine for the resin that you're using, happy days. And it's the reason why I don't fuck around like other 3D printers and chop and change resins like it's going out of fashion, or chop and change my settings.
You keep
they are as they are. I don't touch them unless I fucking have to.
Yeah, okay. So what's your plan now? Are you going to have to go back in, resupport all these models, and
then print them,
and start again? And then you'll have to come back with us and let us know whether it worked better. Because again, that obviously the scientist in my brain, I'll go back to the main scene rather than stare at your empty desk. The scientist in me is saying, well, the acid test is to re-support them yourself. And if you get 100% success instead of 100% failure, that's a fairly dramatic indicator.
Increase, yeah.
That you've identified the problem. But I totally get why you'd be pissed off by this. Because like I say, I said to you, when you see stuff about 3D printing, particularly as somebody who's got no familiarity to it or might be being tempted in, this concept of pre-supported no work for you is touted as such a big plus.
Luke's guilty of it.
Well, yeah, Luke I'm sure it was Luke
APS is guilty of it. And again, let's look at it this way from an outsider's point of view. What miniatures was he using? Because they certainly weren't any Joe Bloggs Adams ones off fucking Thingiverse or whatever. They were from one page.
I was going to say they were OPR, I think, because Luke's a bit of an OPR nut, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I can see fucking why, though, because some of the shit they put out, like that fucking Change Demon I showed you this month.
Yeah.
For the Lord of Change. It's
and
just
to be fair, if we were only talking about them, your experience would mirror his, wouldn't it? Which is, yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good.
There's a couple of issues here and there, but it's like, and everyone gets it a bit wrong occasionally.
Yeah, Chris been saying there's always a bit of work. Do you mean in the digital file management stuff, Chris? Been getting stuff perfect for your printer or getting your printer perfect for the subject? So again, it's something that I just no.
It's an instant turn off for you. Until it's at the point that you can literally hit print on it, walk away, and then come back 6 hours later and they are quality coming off it, you're not going to touch it.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Whether that'll happen in the coming few years or not, it remains to be seen.
Oh, don't bless him. Look at Ricky. It's my look.
Ricky, Ricky. This isn't you. This is robbing not robbing bastards. This is bastards that sell something at it's fucking unfair trade descriptions.
Well, I think ultimately as well, to focus your perhaps circumlocutory route, I agree with you, Tim. To focus your circumlocutory argument, essentially what you're saying is, if you're somebody who's new to this game, just be very wary of the term pre-supported.
Yeah.
Because it may not be of value.
What it says.
Yeah.
By the way, my Discord cam should be back on.
Let me have a look. Your Discord camera is back on. Hurrah! He's back in the room. There you go, mate. You're here. God, you're looking dishevelled. You got really invested in that rant. Your hair's all over the place. Look like you've been dragged through a hedge backwards.
I mean, that's just me full stop in there.
I'll be honest with you, Tim. I agree with you. Blackjack Legacy did a great stream. I'll try and put a link down below recently. No, not recently. I was catching up on some of his older content. I think from memory it was back in March, April time. And he'd got in a bit of a exchange with somebody on some forum. And they were basically saying tabletop miniature manufacture is doomed because of 3D printing. Okay, Crispin. Thanks for being here, mate. Off. Have a good evening.
Ciao, boys.
And Andy, Blackjack Legacy, he was like, well, his opinion, and I agree totally with him, is that unless there is a massive and huge revolutionary step change in the technology, the business of faffing around with messy resins and
alcohol,
the current process of prepare, file, print, wash, cure, with all the steps involved, it'll be a niche hobby. The niche may get larger, as in there will definitely be growth in that. I think there are people who will come into 3D printing over the next 5 or 6 years. But will that ever be enough so that it's not commercially viable to make toy soldiers? I would absolutely categorically say no.
Well, the other counterpoint to that is, whilst it's nice to have all these digital files and representations for whatever you want to play on the battlefield and tabletop and everything else, and you can make them your own and customize them if you're that way inclined, it's no different to taking a model from GW, slapping a load of green stuff on the top of it,
and converting it.
No, Ricky, no, that's not the case. Because again, look at my halflings. Look at how characterful and stuff they are from somewhere that is pre-supported and do work well.
Plus the fact
it's not a dig at you and your teammate. It is a dig at pre-supports and not being pre-supported. Again, if that team had not been pre-supported, I'd have said to you, look, you do realise that it needs pre-supporting. I'm happy to do it for you. Turns out I'm doing that anyway.
And not only that, next time David sees anything from these people, whether
I won't be touching it with a fucking barge pole.
But to be fair, you will never run one of their products native again, will you? You'll take the model, you will support it, and you will fix it. And get
again, I don't get me wrong. I'm not just kicking little people that have done Kickstarters here. PrintableScenery.com. They're just as fucking guilty. When I did that stuff for Patrick and them trees.
Yeah.
Pre-supported my arse. They fucking immediately fell off.
Because they're a big name. But you were saying you found their supporting to be toss as well.
Yeah, it was toss, and I immediately threw it in the bin, and the rest of the stuff that I printed on resin for fucking Patrick, I just fucking did myself.
Yeah.
Because it just immediately failed. On the first one, I'm like, I'm not fucking touching that again, because that was a fucking ball ache.
Yeah, and it wastes your time, it wastes your resin.
Causes stress.
What do you think about, like, the Blackjack Legacy thing? This argument that 3D printing will destroy the manufacture of miniatures as an industry.
If it gets to the point that you can hit print on something and it will reliably come out with little to no issue, and there is not a messy cleanup process.
Yeah.
Yes, it will. 100%.
I'd be honest.
It has got to be like opening resins from whatever company you want to name, and you literally take them out of the box, sprue them. So similarly, just clip the supports off.
In the same way you take something off the sprue for a plastic model, yeah.
And tidy it up and done.
Yeah, I agree. During his chat, we sort of kept coming back to this illusion of the Star Trek replicator, and that was my argument. If I've got something like a microwave oven size piece of tech, and I can open the door, take out a dry, clean,
that's looking good, Hugh.
Ready to use miniature. Good. At that point, it's like, ooh, I'll do this. But until that point, nah. I know that you're not a massive fan of 3D print, no, Jerry? From what's been discussed on OTT. So, sticking with the 3D printing, let's
wade in with discourse and all the others this week. Let's join the hot topic.
Let's just bear me a second. Turn your video ninja off as it's giving me nothing. Let's go to here. So, for those who don't watch Discourse, she recently covered...
Well, it's not just Discourse.
No,
there's been several topics about it lately on the likes of... what's that American one that covers everything? Spiky Bits.
Okay, yeah, their website. So, there's been a bit of a hoo-ha with GW and a 3D printing... Now, they're, as far as I can tell from the videos that I've watched and that, they're like a...
they're the likes of Thingiverse. They're a file hosting website.
That's what I was looking for. A file share website.
You can pay for some of the files.
Yeah. So Discourse discussed it recently. So it's a Thingiverse file share platform. And
to be fair, a lot of people have moved away from Thingiverse because it's gone to dog shit, but we'll gloss over that subject matter.
Some of it's free, isn't it, mate? And some of it's paid for models.
And again, that's the reason people are using Cults instead of the likes of Thingiverse,
Cults3D.
For the pay for models, is because Thingiverse does not give you the option to charge for your miniatures, to my knowledge.
And GW went on a bit of a crusade, didn't they? And they issued an
DCMA request
to Cults3D and asked them to take down, I think it was like 600 models or something. It's a huge amount of stuff.
Yeah, and of those 600 models, I think roughly 10%, i.e. 65 of them, were pay for miniatures.
Yep.
That you had to pay for the files, and they contained copyrighted and or trademark information such as blood angel symbols, or referred to the miniature as, for example, a predator or space marine or adeptus to start anything that they can.
Well, I think that was how they identified the files, wasn't it?
Yes.
So GW identified and targeted the files for removal based on metadata that was embedded within them, either in tags or names, where the people had used trademarked terms and trademarked names in their metadata.
For example, Space Wolves or...
So That was what I think was what they used to
issued
troll.
the start of the DCMA request.
So they then issued the request, and Cults3D came back, and I believe I'm correct in saying they took down everything that was being charged for, and basically said to Games Workshop, we're taking none of the free-to-user stuff off. But what they did do was issue a notice to all of their users and content creators saying the following terms should not be used when you are uploading your files, and they then basically reproduced the list of things that Games Workshop had given
DCMA'd them for.
And they said, if you use any of the following keywords, phrases, terms in your file data, so wherever, it will be moderated and not put up. So basically...
Yes and no. That is only, to my knowledge, if it is a pay-for file.
No, it's for all files. Because the reason they've done it is because they want to make it as hard as possible for the site to be trolled. So, as I understand it, the logic and the sense behind it is basically what they were saying to people without saying it, because it might be seen to be encouraging piracy, was to say, think about it. If you don't
refer
use
to your Eldar and Eldari as Eldar and Eldari, refer to them as space elves.
If you don't use the trigger words, it makes that Games Workshop's job 100 times harder finding them. Do you know what I mean? And you just think...
Yeah, I mean,
genius.
The interesting point of view on this discussion is actually the routes cults have taken to fight back against GW on this.
Yeah, because this is...
Particularly on the free models.
Well, this is their defense.
Their characterization and defense that they're actually works of... what's the term?
Fan art.
Fan art. They're fan art depictions, and
that's
therefore...
their argument for leaving the free stuff up. Their argument is it falls under the banner of fan art.
Just because it's in a digital format that people can download, print, and enjoy instead of paying GW money. Because again, similarly, today I saw a Kickstarter, very, very similar to Necrons on the old Kickstarter.
Okay.
And fuck me, were the models gorgeous, and you could blatantly see they were a rip-off of all the latest GW sculpts for Necrons. But because they didn't use the trigger words
to the nth degree.
Yeah.
And that's on Kickstarter, so they're going for cash for that.
Yeah.
Brave.
I may have just highlighted to the fucking beast in the room if they come and watch this video. Necroid.
They're not watching this video.
Necroid Tomb Lords.
Oh my
on Kickstarter.
God.
Like, literally cannot get any closer. If you want to pull it up on screen...
I'll see if I can find it.
I've got a link. I'm literally copying it and sending it to you in Facebook now. Because I sent it to my mate at club, like, look at these, because he collects Necrons and he was ranting about 3D printed the other day. I'm like, look at this!
They're on My Mini Factory as well. It's Necroid with a Y.
Yeah.
I'll bring up this My Mini Factory.
But again, like, balls to the wall. It's just really piss off.
Yeah. They're pretty...
Like, they are so close to fucking...
They are pretty close to the bone. I'll give you that.
Like, that, I would argue, is not fan art. That is not taking the depiction of something and making it your own compared to some of the stuff that is available on cults, etc.
Well, hang on, though. Because, again, this was the thing that I thought was quite interesting about it. I mean, I'm not a massive 3D printing advocate. I'm not even a fan of Games Workshop. I don't really give much of a damn. This stuff goes on in the background as far as I'm concerned. And because, I'll be honest again, part of the reason GW have such a massive problem with this is A, they price their products so fucking highly, and B, they're huge. So the market for their stuff is absolutely massive. You don't see people putting rip-offs of Malifaux miniatures on because the market's tiny. The models are quite reasonably priced anyway, so why would you be arsed with it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So GW, as far as I'm concerned, are a bit of a, it's your own fault.
And I am not advocating for piracy.
No, absolutely
because
not.
At the end of the day, it is somebody's livelihood, no matter whether they're the big guy or the little guy.
But the thing that I thought was interesting
about certain people in our hobby that it's like, fuck it, stick it to the big guy. Do you know what I mean?
Well, not only that, there's a whole question about legality. I mean, we were talking. I'll come back to the main scene. We were talking a minute ago. You've basically offered 3D printing services to a friend. So the person he's bought those models and you're printing them for him, but you could just as similarly do that service if he bought Space Marine knockoffs. And at that point, are you sort of complicit in theft and IP theft and, do you know what I mean? Copyright infringement. I'm not really interested in that argument because I think it's a bit of a cul-de-sac. The only thing that I thought was interesting with this whole thing, with this legal case, because again, it's only interesting if it goes to court. If it goes to court, what will essentially be fought over in court will be what defines fan art and are the relaxed legal boundaries on the use of fan art or the applications of fan art, would that shine a light on it, and the court would then say, in our opinion, the current law does not adequately protect IP holders, blah, blah, blah. Because that, for me, is the worst case scenario.
It sets a legal precedence because not only does it shut down all of, for example, 3D printing, but it shuts down all of the artwork side, all of the music side, anything that could even be slightly misconstrued.
Short stories, people who do fan fiction.
You can't even mention the name Gaunt because it's trademarked. Do you see what I mean?
Sure, but I mean that's one thing. I mean to go on to a trademark term, etc. Trademarking is a clearly defined legal framework. Whatever it's clearly defined what an infringement of that is. But I think the most interesting possible outcome on this is what does it do to the definition of fan art and the way that major governments legislate
and police it.
How does the balance? Because at the moment, when you think about it, as long as you're seeking no commercial gain, the restrictions and leeway you've got on fan art are pretty fucking massive, aren't they? I mean, you can produce everything from the written word now to 3D models. You can
full fucking animations that get DCMA strikes on YouTube.
Yeah. But are we entering a sort of a time where the courts and the governments look at it again and go, actually, this is a massive fucking loophole from people trying to drive business.
A good counterpoint to this GW argument, though, I'm going after this lot. Disney don't do this with the fucking Etsy stores where they're 3D printed fucking Iron Man masks or 3D printed little figurines and other things. They're too busy chasing the Chinese knockoffs, the recasters, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So therefore, GW are fearing something here.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, for me,
There's no
that's the
smoke
least
without
in.
fire.
I don't really give a tuppeny fuck about GW. I don't really give it.
No,
It's what you've said. There are. I mean, Blackjack mentioned it in his in the stream. He said that he's a big fan of Marvel Crisis Protocol, and he said the actual amount of 3D sculpts that are just almost blatant rip-offs of superheroes that are clearly defined in the Marvel IP.
Marvel Cinematic Universe, and therefore
He said
Disney's
it's becoming
IP.
like a fucking plague on My Mini Factory and places like that. And yet, like you say, Marvel aren't issuing DCMA notices to My Mini Factory because they're like, it's fucking peanuts. They only play with toy soldiers. Fuck them. You know? Whereas with GW, the reason GW are more interested than Marvel is GW don't make multi-million-pound blockbuster movies.
No,
GW's
this is
core
true.
business is selling toy soldiers.
Little
They
plastic
do
man.
have income streams based off their IP, but even today, the vast majority of their
Income
earnings
revenue
is on selling people toy soldiers. And that's why they are more interested than Marvel or Disney in stopping this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I say, that's obvious and not really interesting. The only thing that is interesting is what the hell, if they take this into a court, could it have massive repercussions on, people who just are genuinely fans and want to produce fan fiction and fan art and stuff like that? Does suddenly the whole thing, does it shut down a whole sector of the internet and culture and fandom? Could be. I think it can go either way.
And again, I think it could go either way depending on who's judging on it and what day they've had in the run up to it.
I think maybe. I think it's. I don't think
it's a bit whimsical.
variable.
I think either side has a right to appeal, whatever way it goes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
you've got GW side of the fence and their argument. You've got Cult side of the fence and their argument of, well, hang on a minute, this is a derivative work. It's not the it's not the original.
Because the other thing that could happen is precisely what you've just mentioned, which is currently the massive companies who have no interest in this argument and this scuffle. Can you imagine a scenario where a court in the US or the UK does rule that, in our opinion, there is inadequate protection for IP-driven business because of the fan art loophole?
Yeah.
As soon as a court says something like that, then Disney and Marvel will enter the fray. And they will lobby the fuck out of whatever government it is to say, your judiciary says we need protecting.
But
so we want you to
us.
make laws to protect us. That's what's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a tough one as well, because, as you say, there's been no precedent set before. Because unlike, I mean, there's been a few big articles about certain music artists copying certain beats and being fined for it and other things.
Yeah.
But there is a basis for that it is derivative works. But again, there's only so many physical ways you can compose anything.
Yeah. I mean, the whole The whole the whole plagiarism versus inspiration thing has been tested many times in court, and frankly, it's a bit of a coin flip, innit? Depending on how the legal argument goes, how good particular counsel performs in court, you'll either convince the judge that they ripped your song off, or the judge will go away thinking, well, they're obviously inspired by your music, but there are enough differences for it to pass. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think if we studied, I mean, if you're the kind of person who does study this sort of thing, I'm sure there are probably, it's like a coin flip. It's one way or the other, and it doesn't really matter. Because to be fair, these things rarely enter courts unless there's literally millions riding on it. Do they? Because the cost of fighting it is so colossal. It's only like if you're massive bands, I think Led Zeppelin, the Beatles.
Sheeran's had one.
Joe Satriani tried it, didn't he?
Not a clue.
Against the band that did Yellow. What the name? Coldplay?
Coldplay.
Yeah. So, but like I say, it's a rich man's game fighting that sort of fight. So you don't see it too often.
Yeah, but it does also set a precedence, doesn't it? That, like we say, can this argument therefore then start being used on fucking?
I think that's
fan arts.
I think that's the risk, that GW effectively draws fire onto the whole fan art concept. Or let's be less pejorative and say that 3D Cults draws fire onto the whole concept and framing of fan art, because it's ultimately them.
It's their defense they're using.
They're touting it as the panacea, the get out of jail free card. So they're just as guilty if this all backfires massively. You know, and we end up in a world where IPs are defended voraciously and people get, sued and jailed for even minor infringements. You enter a whole new fucking world, don't you?
Yeah. Well, again,
and there's one thing I can guarantee in all of this. There's virtually zero chance of common sense prevailing in the court. Because unfortunately, the judiciary doesn't work like that.
And everyone suffers because of it.
Yeah. We've long gone past the point where our legal system is defined by concepts like common sense. Anyway, mate, it's coming up for 9:30.
9:30?
It is. So, with that in mind, let's talk about something else.
Let's get off the 3D rants.
Don't open that, Paul. You don't need that open. Why have I just opened that?
What are you opening anyway, boy?
I'm just opening my Spotify, just to hog system resources and for no other good reason.
Just because you've got nothing else to do.
I'm an idiot. Right. Are we done? Yeah, good. We're done. So, let's go to UK Games Expo. Now, at UK Games Expo this year, David and I came across
some lovely Yorkshire people.
Yes, a little company that I'd never heard of before, and I'll be surprised if most of you have. Over Yonder Games.
Now, for those not in Lincolnshire, just leave in chat what Yonder is. Or Yorkshire, actually.
Or Yorkshire.
Yorkshire. Yorkshire.
So Over Yonder Games had a little they had.
I mean, it was a 4x4 that
they had a little table. Let's go to this. Okay, so this is what Over Yonder Games were showing at UK Games Expo this year. Okay, and essentially what it is, if I just go through slowly through the slideshow. It's a series of linear terrain features, so roads and rivers that are in sections, and they come out of the box like this. So they are already pre-water affected, pre-tufted, pre-flocked. In the case of the roads, they're pre-painted. They are segmented into small sections and held together by a really simple idea of magnets. Effectively, you have a magnet on the two pieces and they click together. Where that hemispherical mark is, that's what holds the magnet on its underside, and the projection of the piece underneath has the second magnet, and they just literally click together. And I thought that these were rather good.
It was genius. I was happier with the rivers than the roads.
I give you that. The rivers look more attractive because that sort of hemispherical bulge hides itself much better with the way that they've done the water effect. There is still, you can see on this close-up, you've still got this bare edge that is visible. And obviously,
if you have a hemispherical bulge, you need to see a doctor.
But the thing that I thought was great about them was that they're ready to go.
Yeah, you take them out of the box.
I love somebody doing the work for me. I mean, this was a rather lovely bit of it's like a waterfall turret feature, just out of I think some sort of resin or water effect, and I think it's done really well.
They weren't a bad price either, were they?
I don't think they were bad. I think it was about, so you bought like the roads and the rivers in like box sets, and I think it was about 60 or 70 quid, but you get like 4 to 6 foot of bits all connected together. Admittedly, at the moment, the range is rather small. You've got the cobblestones and the streams or river, and that's basically it.
But he is adding more.
But, like David said, the guy was keen to expand his range, and I think there's loads of things you could do with it. Different textures, different finishes. You know, you could have dirt track roads, paved roads, tarmac. I'm sure it could probably go into different scales, so you can have wider and narrower, etc. You did see earlier there is a bridge piece. Let me go back to that.
That will fit over the river just.
Yeah, again, the bridge piece is magnetized, so it locks itself together over the river section. And as part of the road pieces, it forms.
He said about
like
doing like a curbside set for going around your buildings and stuff as well.
They're already up on their website. They have added curbs for, like David says, built up areas. And I just think these are lovely. I mean, you've got different options.
Because we also said, because we actually had quite a in-depth discussion with him over the 3 days we were there.
Yeah.
Because we did go back a few times as well. Because Paul was on the fence about getting them or not getting them, and I think you said about getting them, but obviously not for taking home because pain in the arse. But the fact of the matter is, like, you could do bocages, hedges, fucking dry stone walling, all of that jazz, just as a little thing that sits in a box. And then you just clip it together with your magnets, and because it's all magnetic and because all the poles and stuff are organised, rather than doing this shit yourself and fucking up the polarity on a couple of pieces, you just throw it out on the box and it all matches up, marries up, and looks pretty.
I mean, you could, if you thought the roads looked too clean, you could weather them, dirty them up. You can do After Effects and paint. You can do all sorts of things yourself to change it if you want to put work in. But I think they already look pretty good. Here on their website, you can see the cobblestone pathways that they've done, and you can see a repeat of the design with the
ties in with the curbstones,
the semicircles, and they've got like a roadside edge and a building edge, and they lay together in a grid, and they've got different pieces. So they've got right angle, T-section. They've got all sorts of little subunits. These are the foreground Mordenberg buildings, by the looks of it, that they're doing it with.
2 more minis to go, and then final highlights on everything.
But yeah, over Yonder Games, I think they're worth a look, and I'm really interested to see what they do with their product. So here you go. Flowing River core set was £100. Let's go into this. Does it tell
because he
us?
did have a whacking great discount on it at UKGE because
Yeah.
of getting his name out there.
So it lists all of the different sections. You get forks, waterfalls, pools. Because, I mean, again, I said you could do...
What's the web address from Jerry? Because the Etsy store is limited.
It is overyondergames, all one word, .com, Jerry. There will be a link in the show notes when I've updated them after the live stream for anybody who wants to go and visit. And again, it's like David said earlier, the rivers were more attractive than the roads because, unfortunately, I think partly because of the colour palette they chose for the roads.
Yeah, being that browny beige colour, it was a bit...
Because they're quite light, this overhang is bloody visible. And I can totally understand why some people are like, no, that triggers me. It looks ugly. I don't want it. And so I sort of get that. But
there is a counterpoint to your argument, though.
If you can think of a better engineered solution, the market is yours. Yeah, go on. What's your point, mate? What were you about to say?
Because he did comment on the fact that it was the resin colour and what he can do with it.
Yes.
Because it was a beige resin, and he basically didn't want to spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours hand painting each individual rock.
Yeah.
So he's used like a beige resin rather than a grey. Yeah. And then he's basically dotted on staining to give you the rock and cobble effect, because it goes a lot quicker than painting 15,000 individual little bricks.
Yep. And again,
fair credit to the guy for thinking ahead for how to mass produce stuff.
Again, for me, I can see the value. I already have stuff like this from the Battlefield in a Box range. So they come 80% finished, like the rivers are pre-painted. There's no water effect on them. It's literally just bloody various dry brushing of blue.
And it's also vac-formed
plastic. So they come like
not the most detailed.
What are they, about 6 to 8 inch sections that you lay end to end?
Yeah, and they've got a shitty little key on them. So again, unlike this set where you
basically they don't key.
Constantly adjust. Well,
they drift.
You can constantly adjust to lay out your table ever so slightly different every time. The Battlefield in a Box stuff, if you do get it to key and it doesn't fall to pieces on you, is very like, here's a straight bit of river, here's a 45, here's another straight bit, here's a 45 going the other way.
Because the pieces are longer, you get less variation, don't you, mate? If you buy the set, there's only so many ways you can build it if you want it to cross the battlefield. And don't get me wrong, that I bought it, they're reasonably priced. It's the only other thing is, my personal opinion, I don't know if anybody else finds the same, getting their stuff is bloody difficult.
Yeah, because it's all the way from Oz or New Zealand, isn't it?
And I don't know how much of it's manufactured anymore. like with their rivers, they did a stream set, a ford set, an actual rivers set. So they've got different widths, narrow and wide. And then they did a tributary set, so you could connect the narrow to the wide. And you had to buy it in all of these little subsets. But you try getting them.
They're rarer than rocking horse teeth.
They had a Fords set where you could insert Fords into the rivers, but obviously it was a separate set. They didn't come in the rivers box. And like I say, I saw this and I just thought, ooh. Because these sort of features are actually a fucking... I think they bring a table to life. They're so nice on a table. And they can be a pain in the arse and a disproportionate amount of work to do.
Particularly if you go down hand-poured resin and river route.
Yeah. Again, the water effects in those rivers. I wouldn't want to be doing that. If I could pay somebody else, yep, I'll have that. Looks good. So yeah, that's our share from UKGE this year.
GE foray.
Definitely worth a look. And as I say, keep an eye on them and see what else they might be doing. We've got 20 minutes before we go back to doing some painting and winding down. The one other thing that I wanted to share with everyone was I watched Uncle Atom's video about Gen Con, the stuff that he brought back. Yes, mate, What were you going to say?
No, I just suddenly had a realisation. I know Crispin's already fucked off.
Yes.
But for those that own 3D printers and are partial to owning some STLs, and Crispin, you'll see this on the replay, if you play Fallout Wasteland Warfare, Modifius currently have 50% off on the My Mini Factory summer sale. So go buy yourself crashed vertibirds and all the other good shenanigans from Fallout 4 because, yay!
Is there stuff reasonably priced before you discount it, or is it a bit pricey?
It's not terrible.
Okay. Well, worth knowing.
Carry on, and I will browse a minute.
Just catch Jerry's comment here in the comments. Manufacturing is out in Malaysia. I'm assuming he's talking about Battlefield in a box, and it's always been a nonsense. Yeah, totally, mate. And it's a shame, because so many of those Battlefield in a box products are killer. But you try getting the fucking things. And not paying scalper prices on eBay or somewhere like that, where somebody's trying to sell you a 25 quid product for 100. Yeah. Anyway, last for tonight. The only thing really that Uncle Atom showed off that caught my attention was this Tinkerturf stuff. Because again, you know how much of a hard-on I have for pre-coloured, ready-to-play terrain. And what these guys do is essentially pre-printed cardboard. But
you have a bit of a thing for cardboard, don't you?
But I think their textures look amazing. And B, the cardstock is like 4 or 5 layers thick. As Atom was holding it up to the camera, you could see all the layering in it. It was bloody heavy duty stuff. And they've got really nice little pieces. I mean, there's a maglev rail here and elevated walk roads. I think Atom showed off there's like a barricade set. Here we go, perimeter wall, I think it is.
I bet there's some nice texture and detail in that.
It comes in multiple different textures. This is the neutral texture. He had like a reddy, rusty one. This is more of a grey concrete one. But it's effectively totally modular. So you have the wall sections, then you have these stanchions or pillars with slots, and you put the wall sections into the slots. And then you can have stanchions that are straight through, stanchions that are 90 degrees, stanchions that are T-sections, and you can just build this stuff and arrange it any which way you like. The other thing that's a nice touch is these doors, like this door you see here, is a separate removable piece of cardboard that actually pops out. So you can have the door open and closed. Or closed, I should say. Now, unfortunately, the way he showed it off, the door pulls out of the bottom, not the top. So if you do want to take the door out, you have to literally pick it up and pull the door out, which is a bit of a design flaw. But the stuff looks, I think it looks bloody cracking.
Pricing is...
Again, the set he had in his sweaty fist looked pretty small. And if it's like $44, what's that? About 30
80%
quid?
at the moment, so what's that? 40, 8, 16, 24, 36?
So it's 36 quid. The other drawback, of course, is I've mentioned this. Is it available in the UK? I don't think so. I haven't.
Yeah.
I only saw the video the other day, so I haven't dug into it. But I suspect this is currently, unless you want to pay exorbitant VAT and shipping, this is probably an American market thing only. But I mean, accuse me of banging the same fucking drum, but I always think that these companies that are getting into this, because for me, this is the future of terrain. Pre-coloured, ready to play.
More time to paint your shit.
You know, call me wrong.
You're wrong.
I don't know what everybody else thinks.
There, I said it. You're wrong.
Jerry's wading in again. Tinkerturf is very nice. Can't wait to see the new fantasy range. Yeah, Atom mentioned they were doing a fantasy range. I mean, at the moment, they've kept their range very focused, haven't they? It's just like walls and roads and that sort of stuff. It's very linear obstacle again, but channel called The Officer Factory. He did a load of builds from them a couple of months ago and shows them really well. I'll have a look for that, Jerry. Good tip. Thanks, mate. But for me, it's the future. Hello, wrong. I'm Dad. What? You get Tim's weird jokes. I don't.
Yeah, you're wrong. You asked somebody to call you wrong, so I called you wrong, and then Tim's now called you wrong.
It's fucking painful. If anybody wants my job, please apply in writing to Jesus.
Yellow Belly Tabletop Pat.
Oh my God. So yeah.
Stop complaining. You enjoy fucking slamming your head against the table with me on stream on a Thursday evening.
See, I know that Tim is a big advocate of XPS foam and spending half your life carving and flocking and gluing.
Actually, I've got a bone to pick with Tim. I asked earlier what he was painting, and I might have been stupid and completely fucking overlooked it. But what were you painting, Tim? Because I don't know if you actually told us.
He said terrain. That was a specific.
Yeah, I know he said terrain, but I did ask what terrain, and then I never heard anything.
He teased us with just the tiniest amount of information.
Stop giving us only the tip, Tim. Give us it all.
Oh my Christ, where has this descended to? I'll tell you what, Crispin will be gutted he left. We've just about reached, we've just gone to his level.
Are we at his level or are we in the gutter yet?
Jesus, I don't know. I really don't know. Actually, Jerry, you didn't shout out, apart from saying that you were getting slaughtered on whiskey. What were you doing tonight? Sitting and chilling?
Getting slaughtered on whiskey. I can't.
What, you drunk? You're drunk as well, are you? Jesus.
I'm drunk on cordial.
What a lightweight! Oh my God, it's embarrassing.
Anyway, I get beer o'clock.
Okay,
next week
he's still on the Frostgrave. So Tim's still on the Frostgrave. Piece of wall with a door and his wizards. Yeah, I saw your I saw your models on your Instagram, Tim.
Let's go have a look at his Facebook page, shall we? Shall we go?
Crispin is below the
gander?
gutter at times. Yep. I say that's fairly,
Fairly apt.
accurate assessment of the situation. I don't know if you're a fan, Tim, but I'd probably be a bit extreme for you. Hello from the Gutter by Overkill always pops into my head when I hear Crispin.
I mean, he doesn't go woo 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 and blow cold air on people, so he's probably not a fan.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Dad jokes! Dad jokes!
Oh, my God.
They are looking fucking crisp, Tim.
I take it the terrain was scratch built, was it? I shall have a shufty.
Is that sarcophagus and shit in the background the red herring stuff from North Star for Frostgrave? Because if so, I'm going to have to fucking get some of that, because that is fucking tasty.
I would go to Instagram, but my phone is currently closed.
It's on his Facebook page.
Yeah, but if I open up Facebook in my browser,
Jerry's playing with the Army Painter skin tones that I got yesterday. Hugh, what are you up to now? You finished the White Scars. If you're still here in chat,
did Hugh send you a picture, or did he share it in Discord?
Hugh, actually, Hugh, you have Discord. What are you doing with your life? I know you put us on mute within 30 seconds because we're very annoying people,
but that doesn't mean you can't.
The point.
Ooh. Talking about...
Yes, they are the red herrings.
Talking about stuff, there's something else. Some other people I want to give a shout out, and we have mentioned them oh so briefly in the past, but we didn't go into details, and I will put a link in the show notes this time. I watched an entire episode of the Plastic Crack podcast the other day, and it was very entertaining. It was they'd been requested to do one because all of the guys who are involved in the podcast are content creators in their own right, in the sort of historical and miniature wargaming scene, and they got asked to do a video on how they got into it, and that's what this live stream was about, and it was very good and very entertaining. So I've joined their Facebook group out, and I'm definitely going to be checking a ton more of their content out. So I will put a link in the show notes for everybody. But yeah, it's Plastic Crack Podcast if you want to search for them on Facebook or YouTube. I would recommend, highly recommend. They were very good. Yeah, that's it. That's my last shout out. 5 minutes to go.
That was what I was going to say, but my mind's completely fucking wandered. Yeah,
I'm a massive Overkill fan, Tim. For me, here's the thing, right? We're going to go metal for a second.
Oh, fucking Jesus Christ. Who let the old men out?
Okay, so everybody says that the top 5 or the big 5 in thrash metal are Metallica and Megadeth and Anthrax and I can't fucking remember. The big 3, is it? Slayer.
I ain't got a clue.
But I think Overkill are really, really overlooked. They've been around since the beginning, based up in North America, Detroit, I think they were. But fucking amazing band. Still going strong today. Still producing great albums. So yeah, if you're watching this and you're a metalhead and you haven't heard of or listened to Overkill, do it. Right, mate. Sorry. Deviation over.
Sorry, I'm back. I'm back in the room now. I can tune back in.
Now that you can stop glazing over.
You're rocking backwards and forwards, asking when it will end. I mean, to be fair, the first thing I'm doing when I get back to work, because I said about it this week, but I didn't get the chance to play it for the lads, is some keel hauled fucked with an anchor.
Yeah.
Because I'll have been off work for a week, and no doubt,
Ailstorm is the band you're thinking of.
Ailstorm, is it?
Yeah.
No doubt when I get back to work, both of the other engineers will feel like they have been fucked with an anchor. So.
Well, if they didn't have to pay for the experience, that was not a bad score. Right, actually, before we end the show, and it's been a while, I want some advice from you on colour palette.
Oh. Paul, Paul. We have bullied Hugh into going to Discord.
Hey!
Paul, so after stream, you will have to go have a look.
I will definitely go and have a look, and I will do it gladly. Let me line up my mini cam and get some half-decent lighting.
Here we go. Actually, I need to possibly break the internet again. I'm not doing a Kim Kardashian, though.
Right, okay. Let me go.
Let me go to watching my stream live. You may miss my pretty face, so if you do, peace, everyone. Oh, no, we have internet and we have power. Happy days.
Right, let's try this, and hopefully you don't disappear and it doesn't lock out and freeze. Let me show you this one first. No, I just have
a very annoying echo, so I might just have to cope for the last 5 minutes.
Obviously, I'm copying... These are the specialists. This is the engineer, and I'm copying the orange and the greys.
Where's your fucking minicam?
I'm seeing my minicam. I'm hoping the public can see my minicam. Because if not, it's only visible in my tabletop.
Have you not changed scenes again, old man?
I have! I've transitioned.
Oh, I can see minicam. What is going on there then?
Don't know.
I can see minicam on stream, but I can't see minicam on here.
Yeah, thanks. Tim can see the minicam. Bright orange pants.
I will have to
Don't worry about it. So my question, it's a bit oversaturated with the light, but basically I've added a new colour to this guy, which is like a green-grey, to give a green tint to his helmet and backpack and sort of supply pouches, to make him unique.
No, Tim, I'm not pulling his leg.
Now, the Doctor has the same thing going on. So there are parts of this model that are unique, like these pouches, this massive backpack. She's got like a peaked cap thing, which is unique to her. What am I going to do with these? What colour? I mean, I did initially think...
what colour? Just generically going, what am I going to do with these? What colour doesn't help me?
Well, obviously we've got the orange-grey thing going on.
We've got the green-grey on there.
No, that was on the engineer. So that's on him. That's on this guy. And now...
I see Doctor with a little pistol and a machine gun.
Yeah, it's actually a medikit, that.
Somebody's having a fight with a wall in my house.
So, of course, you're on lag now. So
yeah, I'm on lag mode. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you will see my engineer come in a second. In fact, let me get them both in shot.
I mean, that would be a fucking radical idea.
Shut up.
Don't know why you didn't think of it sooner.
Because now I don't have a shielding hand to make the camera focus. That's why I wasn't doing it. But there we go.
You know what you need? Bigger hands.
Right. So, there we go. Blurry as fook, but it's there. So my question is, what do I do with this Doctor? She's got a hat, a backpack, a load of pouches. What accent colour do I use? You see, Tim is going where I went, which is...
freehand a red cross on it.
Just do it white, and I was going to do like some sort of version of the Japanese flag, like the rising sun with a cross or something. I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it.
We can tell, hence why you're asking me for colour advice.
But the more I look at it, the more I think going to an almost white is going to be very stark. But I suppose that sort of fits for a field medic. Let's go back to the main scene. Nobody wants to see that.
Radical idea. Can you not keep the green grey on like all the sashes and that kind of shit, and then just do like white medic pouches or the white hat?
So you essentially copy the colours from the engineer model, but then add another white detail or something like that. Or just do the hat white.
Yeah.
That idea has merit. And it sort of makes sense thematically. Because obviously...
I don't know the other thing. Does she have a... what's it called? Does she have a band-aid on her shoulder or a white medic sleeve, etc. on her shoulder?
She does not have any obvious medical iconography.
Right.
So she has not...
Could you freehand a white band on her shoulder? Medic band, like the old World War II medics.
To be fair, on her arms it'll be virtually impossible because she's got literally hair right down her back, and Corvus Belli have modelled it so it's all at the front and cascading off both shoulders and covering up her shoulders.
How dare Corvus Belli produce beautiful miniatures? How very dare they?
I mean, to be fair, they've done a great job because it cascades onto the backpack and then splits and divides and goes down either side of her backpack. It's really well modelled.
Corvus do some amazing shit.
So you think maybe stick with the grey-green to unify them to some degree, but then just make the hat unique. To be fair, she does have a massive badge on the front of her hat.
I'm not going to lie, how I've played with paramedics and everything so far, I've just selected a really memorable pose. The reason being, for example, all my using are wearing snow coats. Well, that's neither use nor fucking ornament for a medic, is it? Like, no. Obviously it'll keep her warm, but...
To be fair, though, you're talking about different thing. So, like, I can take a Kaizotsu paramedic option, and effectively he's a line trooper armed with a med kit. This is... a skilled operative who has the doctor skill. She is what she is. She's called an Isai Kobutai, something Japanese.
Something in Japanese that you can't pronounce.
Exactly. So she is a bit more than your basic bog standard paramedic. She also comes equipped with a Yao Zhao bot who can apply field care.
Flip side.
Yep.
Do you want to highlight her so that she is different and she doesn't blend in with the rest of your army? I know you're not necessarily that guy.
Technically.
Do you want to paint a big white dot on a forehead, red laser sight on a forehead?
Here's an interesting thing for people who are not familiar with Infnity. Technically, what David has said is irrelevant, because the information about your troopers is open. So your opponent is entitled at any time to ask you what every single one of your models is and does, with certain restrictions. So they're not allowed to ask you what a camo marker is, and they're not allowed to ask you who's your lieutenant. But pretty much everything else is public information. You cannot hide specialists by painting regular troopers and saying, you know, he's in there somewhere.
No, but counterpoint is the medic in the British Army doesn't wear a big fucking white helmet.
No, I get what you're saying. Which is why, although I initially thought, oh, I'll just go with the bloody white and red motif, I then thought, do her though, because she's then going to look really out of place.
That's what I mean. I know you can't hide shit other than lieutenant and what camos are or hidden deployment. It was more the point of
practicalities
of war. Do you
want
to fucking highlight her and put a big red dot on her forehead, even though she has a big red dot on her forehead anyway, because it's public information?
Yeah, you're talking about sort of like realities of war.
Yeah,
I get it.
Because again, like for my paras,
Blue.
I might.
That's Tim's come in with blue here. I don't know. It goes with orange.
You know what blue would work?
Go on.
Let me find it.
Because that really would be unique in my army.
Number 60. Intermediate blue, or number 105, which was Luftwaffe uniform World War II as the highlight colour
my
for
God.
intermediate blue.
Intermediate blue. What a good call. Because that's why I went with the grey-green. Because it was the most sort of like...
Subtle green.
Yeah, it played into the grey. That is a genius call, mate. My God, that is definitely what we're going to do. That is such a genius call. Well done. And then I'll probably do the hat badges just like a red cross on a white background or something like that. Just really understated. That's genius. Thank you for that, mate. Oh, that's awesome. Right, I think that takes us to 5 minutes past time.
Kind of like a NATO blue, Jerry.
Yeah, it is. I don't know if you're familiar with the colour, Jerry, but it's a very unusual colour. I love it. It's one of my favourite Vallejo model colours.
Because you have got 105 Luftwaffe uniform as well, haven't you?
I'm sure you sent it in the last care package.
So that I
enough?
would say is a highlight colour for it because it's slightly bluer, and you're just going to go in and pick out the edges.
Yeah, I've got it here in my
Because
magic bag.
you've only got fucking one stage highlights is what you're doing on them, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. Base colour, shade and highlight. I've done 2 levels of highlight on the skin and the faces just to really make them pop. And I'll probably do 2 layers of highlight on the orange.
Hugh's wandered in as well. The blue medical star is a thing. Just sent to me on Messenger with the snake wrapped around the staff on the blue star background.
Oh, what they call... Is that like a NATO military or a...
I don't think it's NATO military. I think it's more American thing.
It's an American thing. Oh, well, I forget what they call... What do they call that snake coiled around the staff? It's got a name.
It's not Hippocratic, is it?
No, that's the oath that doctors take.
Don't need that now. Snake on staff.
Because I think it's something from ancient Greek. Jerry, you know. What the fuck's it called?
Caduceus.
The Caduceus, yes.
Symbol with a short staff entwined by 2 serpents.
Yep.
And the rod of the Asclepius is the one with a single snake.
Yep. Caduceus. Yep. Yeah.
Every day's a school day on stream, boys and girls.
That's really good. That's a great note to end on, everybody. Thank you for being here and enjoying the last couple of hours with us. Hopefully you did. Please feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, all of the stuff that helps us grow and spread to more people on YouTube. For everybody who's catching up with us later, thank you very much for watching. Maybe you can find time to join us live one night, because it'll be great to see some new faces in the chat. Thank you very much to Jerry, Tim, Hugh, and all the others Ricky and
don't forget
Crispin.
Ricky. God, never hear the end of it.
Thing is, it's quite nice because it's getting so many people in chat now. I'm struggling to keep all the names in my head because I'm terrible with names.
And while we're shouting out Hugh, we'll shout out Laura for putting up with our shit while Hugh's painting.
Yeah. Now you see, we didn't really tempt you too much this week, Hugh. I don't think. We were very good. Tell Laura, and not making you.
We're
put
not
your
showing
hand
you
in your
all of the
pocket.
shiny things.
See you later, Jerry. Right, okay, guys. Let's end this stream before we just go on for the rest of this evening. See you later.